Hey there, and welcome to Hot Seat. And we are here to explore the reasons of why. What's the why? What's the purpose? What drives business owners to do what they do? If it's what you're looking for, to get motivated, well, we look forward to sharing this episode with you. I'm your host, Kelvin Holiday, and I am enjoying the fact that we can explore people's why and motivate others. So stay tuned for this exciting new episode. 15 minutes, fast paced. Let's do it. Well, welcome again, people, to another Hot Seat. We are here with a person that really made an impact in a very short period of time in the relationship we've been building. And it's somebody that you really need to listen to. Simon, we are here waiting with bated breath, mate. Come on into the hot seat.
Hey, Cal, how you doing, mate?
Mate, I am phenomenal, mate. We've only known each other a very short period of time, and we'll get into it a little bit later about the massive impact you made into my thinking. All right. We'll get into that a little bit later, but let's start off. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about who's Simon, mate. Where you're from, family, maybe what your career pathway's been like. Anything you want to share with us?
Well, firstly, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate that. I just love these things. It gets me a little bit wide and excited. When I get excited, I talk a little bit fast, and I'm not going to apologise for that. So I've been doing marketing for 30 years. Used to work in the big agencies like Saatchi & Saatchi around the world, and Procter & Gamble across Europe and Sydney, and then another agency, TBWA, and I launched Absolute Raspberry Vodka in Australia.
Wow.
That was a little bit of fun. And then on the client side, worked Time Magazine as a marketing guy, and then startups. And 13 years ago, I went out on my own and started Marketing. It's marketing consulting, and haven't looked back. And it's been a roller coaster, that's for sure. On a more personal side, which is what probably fires me up even more than talking about marketing, is this guy here. Here's my little munchkin. That's Luke. He's 5. He's 5, and the big guy is Jacob. He's 9. That's an actual crocodile. Or alligator. Oh, wow. I always get confused. Are we in New Orleans or Australia? I'm married to Korean. I live in Paddington in Sydney. I have lived here for a lot of years. I know all the nooks and crannies. Come back from Europe, and this is my home, and I have family all around me, and love Sydney weather and going to the beach.
Beautiful, mate. You've been around. You've been around, but what I'm hearing here is you are very solid. You love the marketing part is your life. That's who you are. You haven't, a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs change jobs and they move around, but you've had this consistent, career pathway, which is really cool. So I guess, what is it about that career? What is it about marketing that you go, like, this is me? What is it that resonates inside of you that says marketing is the space that, number one, you do dominate, but just keeps you coming back for more?
Yeah, it's a really great question. I remember the moment it happened when I knew I was going to be a marketing dude. I went to Wollongong University. That was about an hour and a half south of Sydney. Go the gong. And I was sitting in this subject. I had no idea what I wanted to do. Okay, I was overseas at the time, years before, and my dad, because I got the mark somehow, put me into commerce, which surprised me that I actually got those marks. And I'm doing all these commerce subjects. I really had no idea. I figured it was better than arts. What am I going to do with the rest of my life? I don't know. So this one subject changed my life, and it was called consumer behavior. And it verges on, this is all true story, it verges on psychology of how a human being, a customer, can connect with a brand, and how we take information from the external world, and whether it be a conversation or an ad or print or digital, whatever the user experience is, and we connect with it and we save it in our central processing unit here in the back of our brain. I'm making this up as I go, but this is how I tell that story. And I went, oh, that's kind of cool. So we've got a folder for every single thing that we buy: toothpaste, car oil, because I used to work on Castrol and Valvoline, you know what I mean, with John Noyes. What else? Hairspray, nappies, whatever it is. There's a folder there. And as we go through our life and our day, we're filling those folders full of brand equity and positive vibrations and energy, or taking away and negative stuff is going into that folder. And then what happens is we know we need to go and purchase some nappies, and we go, oh, which ones do I buy? And we go to the folder, it's like a manila folder, and we pull it out, and then we check with our heart, because here's how we make the decisions, through the emotional connection, and then we check with our gut, and the decision is made. It's a yes, I'm going to buy this brand, and then the brain kicks in and it tries to analyze the decision and go, is that really right? And it tries to play tricks with you. Think about last time you bought a pair of shoes or a car. It doesn't matter. You'll make the decision and then you'll go, not sure, but the decision is made and you're going to go ahead and buy those shoes or those nappies. And that process pulled me away, and I went, I'm going to be a marketing guy, and then I'm going to be in advertising. And that was the moment it happened. And then I worked for Kerry Packer on Gourmet Traveller magazine, and then got into agency land, and then so my story started. To answer your question, I think it's exciting to be a part of something, to be able to get a decision made by a human, and you're a part of that decision, a positive decision, i.e. the sale. That's really exciting. And I love human beings, and I love psychology. And then you kind of overlay the sales process and user experience and inviting people down your brand world, and you got me. I'm in. So I've been doing it for 30 years.
Yeah, mate. What an amazing experience. You know, so often it can be just that one little trigger that you go, holy smoke, like that changes the trajectory and the pathway. All right. And everything revolves around that one emotion that keeps you going. So on that note, so we know now that you've had this experience, you've had this aha moment, we call them, and you go, this is me. But I can imagine at times that it's not, it's not all bells and whistles, it's not all joys and happy la la land. All right, that there's challenges. All right. And we all face business owners, we all face challenges. So what are some of the things that maybe you've faced, and more importantly, what is the ways that you've actually got up and gone, gee whiz, that was hard? What has kept you going?
That's a great question. The first thing that comes to my mind, but I touch my heart because I'm a human being. And if you think you're making decisions up here and not here, you're wrong, by the way. This is not me talking. This is science and research that's been done all around the world.
Yeah.
The first thing I think of is me as a dad. That's the hardest thing I've ever done. It's the hardest job in the world, and it's not easy, especially with two boys. They want to punch each other, and it's difficult, right? And so that difficulty as a dad, it's the same as in business. It's the same stress. You get hit by stress. It doesn't matter whether it's coming from your kids. It's probably more stressful from your kids than it is from the business world. So I'm going to answer the question by saying there are a few things, tips and tricks that I've done over the years to stay happy. I'm a very energetic, up person. I'm always seeing the positive in life, and we can talk about that at length. I'll talk about that all day long. In fact, I've got a Jedi Knight trick for you guys in a sec. Can you remind me to say this? Going for a walk for 15, 20 minutes in the park, looking at the trees, studying a bird or a leaf or a tree can literally snap your whole body and well-being and mental health back into action. And it is that easy, literally. You drop everything, you leave your phone, and you go. And you come back, half an hour's better, but if you've only got 5 minutes, go for 5 minutes, and you'll come back a different human being. And that problem, which was big, is now small. And what it's all about is it's managing your internal dialogue. That's the happiness, the key to happiness. You didn't know we were going to be talking about this, did you?
But mate, I'm very happy to talk about this.
The key to happiness, doesn't matter what you do or who you are in life, is managing your internal dialogue. And what I mean by that is that if you're a human being, your brain is supposed to naturally think about a gazillion things every minute. And a lot of them are negative, and a lot of them could go down a rabbit warren, and a negative rabbit warren, and a journey to make you a depressed person or a very anxious person. And so once you realize that you are in control of your internal dialogue, automatically you should be thinking, dude, I'm in control of my own destiny now for the first time. and someone hasn't told you this before, then I'm sorry. We should have had this podcast earlier. But that is the first step, okay, to magical happiness, is realize that there's a thought, a negative thought, and nip it in the bud immediately and focus on something positive. It could be an ice cream or a movie, but shut that, can I swear on this?
Go for your life, mate.
Shut that shit down immediately and think about something positively immediately. And that is an incredible way to roll. And you can and will be a happy person if you can manage that internal dialogue. So here comes the Jedi Knight trick, and it's actually the same as what I just said, but I'm kind of bring it to life, and I'll try and think of an example. But I'll think of I've got the perfect example. I broke my finger, funnily enough. And when I broke my finger, I was in a lot of pain. You know, I was just on the floor. I couldn't believe it. It was bleeding. It looks like a car has run over it. And after the angst, I got it fixed, and I'm very sensitive, and I make sure my boys cuddle me all day long on this side, but they can't come anywhere near me on this side because there's balls and Rubik's cubes and everything. And just stay away from this hand, guys. And I was happy. And then people say, "Why are you happy? You've just broken your finger." And I said to him, "It's about gratitude, man. It's about the things you have. Concentrate on the things you have, not the things you don't have." It could have been my right finger. I'm right-handed. And it could have been this finger or this finger or this finger. How am I brushing my teeth? How am I driving my car? How am I swinging my tennis racket? It just wouldn't happen. So I was so happy that it was this finger. I could have lost a leg. I could have got cancer. Do you see what I mean? I'm
Absolutely.
happy. It could have been a lot worse, and that is my Jedi mind trick. There's always something positive going on in your life. Find it, connect with it here, and dismiss the negative vibrations. Go forth and conquer, guys.
Oh, mate, folks, mate, if you're listening to this now, you need to replay this over and over. We're getting some absolute gold here, not just about, like Simon, as I said, is an absolute genius when it comes to marketing, but just his own humor, but he understands the psychology of humanity, all right? That we are human beings. Now, we're not human doers, all right? So if you want to be positive. Loving it. Absolutely loving it. Mate, I would imagine that, like when you're dealing with a lot of clients and, so because there's a lot of people out there that will be playing around in that negative space all the time, and so I guess I wanted to ask you, so when you're getting those clients and you're having a bit of a challenge with them, all right, what are some of the things that that help you to cope when you're such a positive person, all right, and it's really easy to have somebody else come into your influence or your circle and they're not as positive, and I'm not going to say they're negative. People can listen and make their own decisions. But when you get into that space, how do you cope when somebody is in that opposite sort of position to you?
You know what? It's another good question. Geez, you got some good questions, Kel. I'm a bit of a chameleon. I think you have to be. I'm a Capricorn. I grew up in a family where I was super lucky, and this is why I'm so happy in life, and I have a positive disposition for everything. Is because my dad was a busy businessman and an entrepreneur. He started Ganton Shirts, the oldest family shirt making business in Australia. I think I'm wearing one now. 50 years old now they are, and there's many gents and some women who are listening to this that might be wearing a Ganton shirt right now. And my mum, who was, I dare say, a little bit more on the hippie positive energy side, and a real pleaser, but also very hard. She was very hard on us. It was a hard upbringing. And my dad made sure that I wasn't getting any handouts. I was the first guy in my form, in our year, back in the days we used to call them forms, to work. And I was working at Woolworths when I was in fourth form, in the fruit and veg department. And ask me anything about fruit and veg, and I don't know the answer. So that allowed me to be a chameleon because I had these kind of two leaders in my life who taught me a lot. So I find just by being still and having some stillness and letting them talk and be boisterous and ego driven, because I meditate, and we'll talk about meditation in a second. I think it's really important. But just to not be yourself, but just to calm my energy down a little bit until I can let them feel like they're in control of the energy dial, so to speak.
Yeah.
And if they're blowing off some steam or whatever, I'll let them blow off some steam. And if they're asking me to explain myself, I'm not going to explain myself, but it will avoid of emotion, explain from a strategic perspective how we got here, and I will listen. I won't try and solve problems because his or she might be all fired up, depending on how negative or feisty this particular example might be. And I'll just be calm, and just be happy. And I had this kind of example the other day that was quite interesting when I first met this gentleman. Very nice man, very smart man. Met him in the street, and I'm like fiery, exciting, energetic self. And I noticed he was not on the same frequency at all. He came from a finance accounting background, and that's not my background, is it? And I was still myself, but I let him catch up to me from an energy and a vibration perspective, because everyone emits an energy. And if you're a hippie like me, I can see energy. I literally can see it and tap into it. And you don't get to choose your friends. You don't. The energy chooses for you, right? My 5-year-old comes home and says, "Daddy, I found a new friend." He found me, he says, and he's so happy. And I went, you know what? You're right. You found each other, because he's not finding you unless you responded accordingly in a positive, in a symbiotic way when that energy comes and they play together. And so that was interesting. And then my colleague said, "Oh," he said, "when he first met you, he said, oh, that Simon's fiery, isn't he?" And I thought that was kind of cute, fiery. And then we talked, and then I said, "That's fine. I'm just going to continue to be myself." And now we had a second and a third meeting, and now he's showing himself to me, and he's making jokes, which is beautiful. I loved it.
Yeah, good. And that's a cracker. That could be a hot tip by itself. But just be yourself. But I'm gonna actually we're gonna wrap up, mate. This has been one of the fastest hot seats I've actually gone through. We're already a little bit over time, but that's okay. I want to give you the opportunity and tell us a little bit about what is your hot tip that people can go away with and really unpack and make a change in their life.
Yeah, I think it'd probably be something like when I spoke to you the other day, I got really excited that you'd actioned that. I was just helping you out. You said, "Tell me, what do you think of my website? What do you think of my platform? Is there any kind of negative feelings you have or anything I can do?" And I just quickly went through things, and I mentioned a couple of things like, getting some more Google reviews and something about the logo kind of being reversed out and should have a white background. And you went ahead and actioned it, and I love that. I'll give you a virtual cuddle, my good man. Well done. So I love that. Got me excited. And so my point here is listen to specialists around you. If they've got a recommendation and that's all they've done, and you trust them to be an authority in this space, listen to them. And I always give this example to my clients: is you pay a lot of money to go and see a dentist, and he says to you, "You know what, I'm going to get this tooth at the back pulled. You have to, because it's full of decay." And then you say, "Yeah, thanks anyway. I'm paying you the money, but I'm not going to get that tooth decay pulled out. I want to keep that in there." And that's just madness, right? So a good client for me is where they hire me, I give them 5 amazing disruptive ideas to help them scale their business, and they go ahead and do them all. And there's no friction and there's no fighting, and I help them execute and activate those pieces or campaigns. A bad client, and this happens a lot, is when they'll hire me. I give them 5 amazing ideas, and they fight me on every single one because of their background and their belief system and their culture, where they came from. They're not accepting or open to new ideas because they know everything about their niche. So why are they even hiring me? And that's a bad client. And they'll go ahead and do one, but I really have to, twist their arm around the back. And that's not for me, right? I'm not about selling anything to anyone. I come together with like-minded people. We have fun. We do good work. The point, I guess, is when you hire a specialist, or you haven't hired a specialist, when someone's giving you a tip, take it, get on with it and action it. Don't just leave it there. and go, oh, I'll do that one day, because that's silly.
Yeah, look, that's a bit of gold. Simon, like, I know I can just feel it. We can talk here for hours, and I know the folks are going to be saying, I want to know more about this Simon and what he does. So, folks, we're going to invite Simon back to a tool time in the future to be able to really unpack some of this psychology and how it can change you, all right, and give us a bit of a masterclass around that whole psychology. And as I said, that one small little tip that he gave me, I listened, implemented, and it's already making an impact within a week. So thank you for the tip. Thank you for the hot tip. Thank you for being on a hot seat. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here, buddy.
Most welcome. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Folks, another hot seat done. All right. It has been awesome. I would encourage you to go back, re-listen to this, subscribe, and absolutely have a blast and get out there and take some action. So that's all for now. Thank you very much. We'll see you all again on the next hot seat. Thanks for joining us here at Hot Seat. It's been an amazing, amazing event. It is a place where you can actually enjoy and be inspired by the why of others, the drive of the purpose and the passion. Please like and share this podcast with as many people as you can to inspire them to make a difference in this world. Have an awesome day. Unleash.